Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide up inside the comment box? Thank you very much for kicking it with me this morning. Today is Tuesday. It is November 18th. I appreciate you being here on today's show. Did you know this, that this is 10 years ago that Coach Saban came out with shit through a tin horn? Do you remember this, right? He's talking about Georgia Southern. He was asked about a quarterback, and he was like, you guys don't remember Georgia Southern, right? Because they ran through through a tin horn, right? And that Bama team featured 37 NFL players. And I was thinking about this, and I saw this. This is the 10-year anniversary of this. You get to this sort of game in the back end of the season, right? And you've always had this game, since I've covered the team, right before Auburn. And I hope you guys are doing well this morning. And, you kind of overlook the team, right? You don't even care who the team is. You're looking to the next game, right? And I think that is what made Coach Saban so great, is he was able to stay in the present. All coaches are, right? They understand that any given Saturday mentality, but I think as fans, it's important for us to understand. It's like, look, got a game this weekend and then the game next weekend. So look, on this particular show, I am talking about players I'm excited to see that I don't even know if they're going to play at all, okay? So I'm giving some rat poison. Coach Saban would be pissed if he was listening to the show. But where we are right now, we understand it is a one-game season, even against Eastern Illinois, then against Auburn. All right, but I just thought, man, 10 years ago, I can still remember his rants, right? It's amazing how it goes by. And, right now to see Coach kind of in his golden years and where he's, at right now, I love it. I can't get enough of Coach Saban on ESPN. I'll admit it. I look forward to ESPN, to be honest, just to listen to his takes. I mean, he's the greatest coach, and I honestly feel that he's one of the greatest analysts, right? I mean, shoot, man, he's good at every single thing. But what I was mentioning is there's not even odds on this game, right? There's not even odds. Like, you can't even, if you were to bet, you can't even bet on a game like this. There's not even odds for a game like Alabama versus Eastern Illinois. I mean, there's just not. I mean, it's just how it is. All right, let's give some AM shout-outs. Let's see who's here today on this beautiful Tuesday, November 18th. Oh, and on the Wake Up Bama podcast that I posted, I guess I said, I meant to say it's my birthday week, but my official birthday is on Saturday, okay? So Saturday will be my official birthday, okay? So thank you so much for the early birthday wishes. I appreciate it. I guess people said I'm a Scorpio and a Sagittarius. I don't know what that means, but I guess I'm right on those particular dates. So if you have a November birthday, if your birthday is anytime this week, or if your birthday is today, let me know inside the comment box. I definitely love giving you guys shout outs. All right, Dana, what's up, man? Good to see you on the show. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for joining us, Max Tooney, as well. We have Patriot Life. What's up, man? Good to see you. We have Miss Amanda Jane. We also have, let's see who else is in the comment box. We have Rock Righteous Ministry. Man, you changed your username on us? Oh, man, I like it. All right, good to see you up in here. We have Bruce Williams. Thank you very much for checking in as well. We have Miss Crystal Jones. Thank you, Crystal, for kicking it with us. We have Justin Glenn saying good morning to everybody. Good morning to you, Justin. Thank you for being here on the program right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We also have, Broderick. What's up, Broderick? Good to see you, man. I hope you're off to a good start, Broderick. Definitely. Thanks for checking in. You've been a constant up in here inside the Undefeated. So is Robert Bradley Jr. Thank you, Robert Bradley Jr., for always supporting the program right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Love to see you inside the comment box. North Alabama Storm Chase. I don't have your graphic today. Hold it against kind of my head, not against my heart. Got a lot going on, but I will get it in the graphics page tomorrow. So I really appreciate you, and thanks for always sending that in. We have CJ. What's up, man? Thanks for coming to us from Wetumpka. And we're going to do some fishing, right, this next spring, CJ. So we're going to get it taken care of, man. What's up, Antoine? Good to see you, bro. We got a big basketball game tomorrow too, right, Antoine? I know we'll be checking in on that game as Alabama takes on Illinois, which should be a fantastic game. Isn't that crazy? Alabama's playing two teams from Illinois this week. Didn't even think about that up until now. Paul Kirk, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Thank you so much for kicking it with us this morning. Miss Nicole Covington, thank you very much. Chris Waltman, what's up, man? Saying staying relentless. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing right here. It's kind of staying relentless and staying on the process. You know what I'm saying? I always think, like, you get to this week, you might get a little, like, lay off the gas. You could be like, okay, I'm going to take, like, a vacation, kind of get tuned out. Don't get in that mindset. There is still so much at stake right now. And I think if you just kind of focus in on the process, you'll be good. But don't be like, oh, the season's done. We've already explained a million reasons why, right? And Antoine says, yeah, got to get a win versus the Big Ten. Yo, Big Ten can bang basketball 100%. Wade's World, what's up, bro? Good to see you. And I think we got Reginald Green. What's up, man? Thank you so much for being here right on the show. Cody B, what's up, bro? Thank you for kicking it with us as well. Okay, so a little rat poison. And look, I don't want Coach Saban to see this, but, you know, it's my show, Coach Saban. There's a little rat poison. And I had a video go out yesterday where I was talking about 5 players. I'm really excited to see how, you know, some players that really haven't had opportunities because of the SEC schedule. Look, Alabama's not playing a soft schedule, and that's one of my biggest kind of, you know, resume builders when I talk about Alabama in its playoff chances is they have played a gauntlet of a season. You haven't been able to get, you know, some of these freshmen some opportunities because it's been 4 quarters games. That's not because Alabama isn't good. It's because Alabama's playing elite competition on a weekly basis. So I'm curious to see, and I'd be curious for you inside the comment box. Please list at least maybe 2 players that you are excited to hopefully see if they get opportunities against Eastern Illinois. For me, it starts out with the 2 quarterbacks, right? Keelan Russell, he's only played in 1 game. And the story of Keelan Russell is really amazing. I know our quarterback number 1 is Ty Simpson. It's going to stay that way this year, rightfully so. But with Keelan Russell, man, this guy has dealt with so much in a young man's life, right? He's a 5-star quarterback, the most coveted quarterback in the entire country. Comes over here to Alabama. The young man lost his sister, right? His twin sister this year. I can't even imagine from a mental standpoint, you know, how he's feeling, how he's been able to continue to battle through. I saw he just got baptized recently, so that was amazing to see. But this young man, think about, hey, you're a freshman, you're a 5-star, you got to go to Bama and start. And, you know, if he's not getting playing time, that's okay. I mean, it's all about waiting your turn, but he's just gone through a tremendous amount. All these freshmen do. So if he does have opportunities this coming weekend, I want to see how he has developed because, as I mentioned, in the first game that we got to see him play, we saw a lot of playmaking ability from him, right? He threw 2 touchdowns in just 6 opportunities. I get it. It was against Louisiana Monroe. But just from a development standpoint, as a fan, I am excited to see if he does come in. And same thing with Austin Mack. You know, Austin Mack, I think that he has a lot of upside, and I don't think that he's close to his ceiling. This is a guy that was clearly recruited by Ryan Grubb and by Coach Kalen DeBoer. He's a bigger quarterback, 6'7". He has absolute cannon. So if he does come in and if he does play, you know, whatever quarterback comes in, I want to see continued development. And that is the development standpoint has been so important to me because, as I have mentioned 100 times over, these quarterbacks I don't feel had the best coaching over the last 5 years. And I think that kind of hurt the Alabama quarterback play overall. But I do feel right now they are getting that elite level training. A.K. Deer, of course. I mean, last week we thought, you know, we might see him against Oklahoma. This week, maybe we'll see him against Eastern Illinois. This is a freshman running back who has a lot of playmaking ability. When he got in the last time, he looked like lightning in a bottle. So maybe A.K. Deer. I'm for, like, getting a lot of rushing yards this weekend. I really want to get, you know, things going from a running game perspective. I don't care, like, who it's against. Sometimes you just need a little bit of momentum. So whoever's working at running back, let's see it. We got Jalen Mbakwe. I'd like to see him get some more opportunities at wide receiver as he kind of comes through. He's done a really good job on special teams this year for Alabama. And then how about this? How about Peter Nataro? Maybe Peter Nataro could be a guy that gets an opportunity. How many times do we ever see the backup kicker come in, right? So I don't know. Maybe Peter Nataro comes in and we're like, ooh, looks nice, can get a little bit of momentum. So those are a couple players that I'm watching. And then freshmen watch this particular season. It's been amazing to see a lot of these guys and how many games they have played in. As you can see, Ivan Taylor has played in 10 games. Same with Marshall Pritchett and Luke Metz. But the kind of the core of this freshman class that have really played and really contributed, not just coming in on special teams, I mean, guys who have really, really played. Yo, Caleb Edwards is a baller. He's a hell of a tight end. He's played in 10 games. Dejon Lee, baller. He's came in. He's played in 10 games, right? London Simmons, baller on defensive line. Justin Hill, my goodness. He's looked the part, is the part. Lazier Brooks, man, I did not know that Lazier Brooks would be this talented. He's one of the best wide receivers on the team right now. Great special teams player, elite speed, hard to bring down. Lazier Brooks, I think that he's just a freshman, is pretty amazing. And then Michael Carroll continuing to be in development. And, Michael Carroll has a ways to – all these guys do. They just got here. But, looking at Michael Carroll, he will be the guy. He's in development, but I still do feel that right side of Alabama's offensive line has been an issue for the last 2 seasons, okay? Switching over to college football news, and today's show will include Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer, and Kay Womack. We'll watch and we'll react with some excerpts during this program, as we usually do on Tuesday. And then tomorrow will be our call-in show. And then programming note for tonight, 7:15 p.m. Central Time, we will have our playoff ranking show. All right, so jump over here. We'll break down the resumes, and then when they officially release the brackets, we'll look at the brackets and provide some questions and comments, and that will be tonight at 7:15 p.m. So we'll have a nice little nightcap. So did you see this? Ross Dellinger said this. He was in a meeting in Charlotte. This was yesterday. Power Conference commissioners saw a presentation from the Big Ten on a 24-team playoff format. Isn't 24 teams? Officials agreed to keep further exploring formats beyond 12. SEC officials, as they have said publicly, support 16. It's coming. How do you feel? Do you feel that the playoffs should be expanded? Maybe that should be a poll question. Okay, I will put the poll question for today, and you answer it. Do you feel that the playoffs should be expanded past 12 teams? Yes or no inside the comment box. Oh, man. I do feel that I do feel that this is going to happen. I do feel that 12 teams is a good spot. I do feel that there's a couple issues with the 12-team format in terms of having to make sure like a group of 5 is happy. Not having really rules around you. If you're not in a conference, you're still eligible to make the playoffs. Not all conferences are created equal. Some play different conference games than the others. It's people in a room that are deciding the team's fate. But I do feel that we are going to keep expanding the playoffs. I think that's just part of it. I think they warmed us up to 12. They will go to 16. And then eventually 24. I do feel that one of the reasons that we continue to go for the expanded route is because the bowl games are completely meaningless. And I think if you don't make the playoffs, programs are like, hey, our coach can't make the 12 teams, and we're going to fire him. And I think other players are like, man, like hitting the transfer portal during that busy season. Bowl game, like, honestly, just look at it from like the past 10 years. 10 years ago, there was bowl games that you made that had a little bit of, your excitement. Do you even watch bowl games if they're not in the playoffs? I think we watch them just because we're football fans, but we all know that the players, they're not playing because there's really no reason to. Some of them, have like opted out and all that stuff that has kind of existed now. But man, you turn on and you see like the Cheez-It Bowl or the Mayo Bowl or the El Paso Bowl, you don't care, right? So, yeah, and Dan was right. It's all about the money because these teams, as people get money for making bowl games too, but I'm saying like the playoffs is where it's at. So I get it. But I do feel that they will expand, and I would imagine that maybe like within the next 5 to 7 years we have 24 teams. All right. Also, college football headlines. James Franklin to Virginia Tech. I saw that Virginia Tech fans are really excited about this, and I saw expert analysts who know every single thing in college football saying that this was a boss hire, that this was the best hire on the board. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, really? Look, personally, I have nothing against James Franklin, but as an analyst, what has he really done? Couldn't get the job done at Penn State. Was terrible against top 25 teams, was terrible against top 10 teams. It's a much easier conference to coach in, right? When you're playing teams like Miami, NC State, Georgia Tech, I guess, SMU, Virginia, Duke, right? Like, people are like, this is the best hire you could get. I'm like, yeah, it's an easier place to coach, and maybe it makes a little bit of sense for Virginia Tech, but I didn't think it was like shocking hire, right? I don't know. I just have a difference of opinion about James Franklin. I think it'll be more of the same, to be honest. I think that he'll kind of have them in that 7 to 8 game range, and that's it. I think he's a good recruiter, as you guys have mentioned, but other than that, I don't know. Is it a slam dunk hire? I don't know. I'd say no. But who else are you going to get? All right, so the biggest question right now in college football is, where will Lane Kiffin end up, right? Do you feel that LSU or Florida? It certainly seems like he's not staying in Oxford at this point in time. I see things that you saw. I mean, clearly his family was visiting LSU. What's a better job, LSU or Florida? Sound off inside the comment box. Like, overall, like, what is the better job? I mean, Florida? I don't know. I mean, to me, I might think LSU is a better job, but LSU has, in my mind, fake expectations. I think that they feel that if they're not like a top 5 team, that they're going to fire their coach. I mean, Brian Kelly, it's interesting. Brian Kelly had a winning percentage of 74%, right? And so I started kind of looking at some of the numbers. I mean, Lane Kiffin right here, since being at Ole Miss since 2020, his winning percentage is 74, right? And he's probably doing more with less working at Ole Miss, and I think that Ole Miss has done a great job supporting him in the transfer portal era. They've provided everything that he needed, right? And this year, I mean, you look at the last 3 seasons, 11 wins, 10 wins, on the verge of an 11-win season this coming year. I mean, 54 total wins at Ole Miss and 19 losses, pretty good, comes out to 74. Now, with that said, still hasn't made the playoffs, will make the playoffs this year. But from my understanding, it seems like he's kind of been put in an ultimatum to make a decision, and I've even done some reading that says that he might not coach in the playoffs. Man, so I'm like, what a terrible position to be in from the team aspect, right? You've won all these games, you've done all this work, and then you're not going to have your head football coach of the playoffs? Because if Alabama still has to beat Auburn, right, to get into the playoffs. Ole Miss, they should beat Mississippi State. If they do, they're 100% lock to make the playoffs. It's tougher for Ole Miss. There's some really weird scenarios to where Ole Miss can still make the SEC title game, but realistically, they're going to host a playoff game. Those are higher percentages. So they're like a playoff lock, 100%, right? So I don't know. I don't know where he ends up. I know it's a hot name that everybody's talking about. He doesn't have the best record against top 25 teams. I brought that up a bunch of different times. It doesn't seem like he's been able to win really big games during kind of this early part of his career. But, we'll see what happens. So my final question, where do you think he ends up? LSU or Florida? I don't know. I saw like the next best thing to getting Nick Saban was getting Lane Kiffin to LSU. I thought that was kind of a far stretch. I don't know. Chris from New Jersey, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Byron says Lane's family would be happier in Florida. I don't know. Something we're tracking. Another coach that's kind of been in the news as well is Steve Sarkisian. Is there anybody inside the comment box that feels that Steve Sarkisian is not the coach next year at Florida? Or at Texas, rather. Is there anyone inside the comment box that feels that Steve Sarkisian will not be the coach next year at Texas? He's been at Texas since 2021. As you can see, his winning percentage is 69% at Texas. Made the playoffs last year, right? Won 2 playoff games, first round and the second round. This season, they have a slim chance to make the playoffs. And my question is, like Max is saying that Sark is gone. My question is, why do you think that Sarkisian is leaving? Is it the NFL? And because you could think of like a Texas job. And I thought when Sarkisian went to Texas, I mean, Texas has, right, the most money outside of A&M and probably Alabama that they could pay for whatever. So why do you think he's leaving? If he does leave, why would you think that Sarkisian is leaving college for the NFL? You think it's, the expectations are too high? Do you think that he hasn't been able to get the job done? Jarvis is saying Arch isn't the guy. Yeah, I think that's been a lot of the problem for sure. Rex is saying that Texas has no shot. Yeah, I think even if Texas is able to beat like A&M, right? I think who they play, Arkansas and A&M. I think even if they win those games, they still have like a slim margin to make the playoffs. That's what I was saying yesterday. You imagine being a Texas fan and fed all these fake expectations in the beginning of the season. I'm telling you, there are Texas YouTube channels right now that have, 3,700 people watching. And like, what a train wreck. People thought that this Texas team was going to run the table. I even thought for a little while, I was like, damn, who's going to beat Texas? This team has been a huge disappointment. So, I don't know. It seems like he might be moving on as well. And then you kind of start to think about other jobs opening up, right? Like Ole Miss, if that opens up. If Texas opens up, think about the names for that job. And you know who the number one name is going to be for Texas if that does open up. Who will the number one name be for Texas? The same name that everybody else says. People will be like, well, Coach Saban. Coach Saban is not talking about, is not taking any more jobs. But that's going to be the first name that comes up, right? All right. Looking at the college football playoff chances in terms of, teams who have the best opportunity to get into the playoffs, right? Indiana, lock. Ohio State, lock. Everybody up on the top row. Even as I said, Ole Miss up there, 89%, right? Close to being 11-1. And in that second tier, Oregon, really good chances. You also have Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame, James Madison, because you got to take a group of 5. Oklahoma, 49%, and Utah. Surprised to see Oklahoma's chances only at 49. But with that said, the playoff rankings will be updated tonight. I've showed you this before, but here's kind of how I have the playoff bracket as of right now. Is there anything that you would switch on this board? Is there a team that I have ranked too high? Is there a team that I have ranked too low? Would you switch anything up with my playoff bracket? Because right now I have Alabama as a number 9 ahead of Notre Dame. I just feel that Alabama has a better resume than Notre Dame at this point in time, right? I mean, 4 top 25 wins. I gave Oklahoma clearly the head-to-head advantage, so I put Oklahoma at 8. So in this scenario, Alabama would be on the road, going to Norman. Jarvis thinks that Alabama's at 9, so he's got it kind of the same that I have it, right? I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens with, the only thing I could kind of switch around would be Ole Miss or Oregon. Maybe they give Oregon the 6 or whatever. And Jarvis, you bring up a good point. With Notre Dame and a team like Miami, they have the same record. And you're like, okay, well, they have the same record. Well, have they played? Yeah, they played. And who won? Well, Miami did. So my first couple of teams that I have out, BYU, Vandy, and then probably Miami right after that. So maybe they go with the head-to-head, but it's kind of about, what have you done for me lately? And I think since Notre Dame's kind of been on a tear, they like that. They do not like when you lose late, and they do not like They didn't like that loss that Miami had to Louisville. The games that remain in the SEC for this coming weekend, you have Florida taking on Tennessee. You have Oklahoma taking on Missouri, Texas taking on Arkansas, and Vanderbilt taking on Kentucky. Kind of this week is where everybody kind of plays one of those, games like a Eastern Illinois or a Mercer or something like that. The slate this weekend is not that good in college football, to be honest. Thanksgiving, it'll be turned up, right? Mississippi State, Ole Miss, a lot of the rivalry games. Bama, of course, taking on Auburn. But this weekend, we do have these are the two matchups, right? You do have USC taking on Oregon. Who do we have winning this game, fam? USC or Oregon? Is there any chance that the Trojans go out to Eugene, Oregon, and beat up on the Ducks? If you open up the hood of the Ducks, they really don't have a lot of marquee wins. I guess you could say their best win is against Iowa, maybe. USC was beaten by Notre Dame. Does anybody have Oregon on upset alert? I don't think that they're able to that they lose at home, right? Hey, we got a super chat. Appreciate it. Any truth about Womack as Arkansas's next head coach, or is that just message board rumor talk? Well, thank you so much for this super chat. I really appreciate it. It's going to happen in terms of Alabama coaches being poached, Alabama assistant coaches kind of being in the mix for some of these jobs. Kane to Arkansas is something that I haven't even seen, to be honest. Arkansas, I think Arkansas clearly, I think that's a very difficult spot to coach at. They do have a lot of resources. I think they could pay, a ton. I did like Sam Pittman. He couldn't get the job done there. Kane Womack, is he ready for a job like Arkansas? I don't know. I don't know. But I do feel that Kane Womack is probably ready for another head coaching job, right? He was the head football coach at South Alabama, and I think people are going to be knocking on his door because of the job that he's done with Alabama's defense. So, look, people are going to come after Ryan Grubb. People are going to come after Kane Womack. People might even come after, like, Mo Lindquist. Remember, he was the head football coach at Buffalo. Ryan Grubb was close to, he was the offensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks. I think he wants to be a head coach. And Kane Womack was the head football coach with South Alabama. So do these guys want to be head coaches again? I would imagine so. I don't know if it'll be Arkansas. I didn't see that. I'd probably say no to that. But I think Kane Womack will have people calling for sure. How about BYU in Cincinnati? And the thing that I found interesting with this one, with BYU, okay, because BYU is a team that recently was number 7 in the college football playoff rankings before they lost to Texas Tech, right? And the thing with BYU, I'm like, okay, what were they? They were, Texas Tech in that game was like a 21.5 point favorite, right? And now that BYU is hosting number 25 Cincinnati, they're only a 2.5 point favorite. Like, if this team is really that good, shouldn't they be like, at least a 10 point favorite? I don't know. Because and the reason I'm kind of poking at BYU is if BYU wins this game and they play in the Big 12 championship, shoot, they're going to have another shot to beat Texas Tech. BYU could be a bubble team. And you saw, like, it's all about wins, right? So I don't know. Maybe Cincinnati's able to beat BYU. We'll have to see. But these are kind of our marquee games. And, of course, College Game Day is going all out to Eugene for USC and Oregon. All right, before we get to the coach press conferences that I'll pipe in some excerpts, here's a look to the Alabama offensive stats. I'll run over these, and then I'll run over the defenses as well real quick. So for Alabama, statistically speaking, scoring offense 31.6 points per game. That is 43rd nationally. Not mad about that, I guess. The rushing offense, 108, 123rd nationally. 14th in the SEC. That is crazy. Passing offense, 294, 12th nationally, 3rd in the SEC. We know that. Total offense, 403, 58th nationally, 8th in the SEC. Yards per play, 5.9. That is 52nd nationally, 8th in the SEC. Third down conversions, 47% completion. That is 23rd nationally. I like that. And red zone touchdown conversions, 73%, which is 13th nationally and 5th in the SEC. Really good numbers right there in the red zone. Defensively, statistically speaking, scoring defense, 17.8 points per game. That is 13th nationally. And second in the SEC. Rushing defense, 132. 46 nationally, 11th in the SEC. That number was a little bit surprising because it does seem like Alabama's defense has been a little bit better against the run. Passing defense has been fantastic. 161, 8th nationally, and 1st in the SEC. Passing defense, look at that. 8th nationally and 1st in the SEC, outstanding. Total defense, 294, 14th nationally, 3rd in the SEC. These defensive numbers are fantastic. All right. Yards per play, 34th nationally. Opponents' third down conversions, 35%, which is 41st nationally. And opponent red zone touchdown rate, 44%, which is 8th nationally and 1st in the SEC. Really good. The defense has been stellar. And once you get inside the red zone or the goal line, good luck scoring against Alabama. I've been saying that. All right. So as you know, these are kind of the current issues. I'm about to play the excerpts from yesterday's press conferences. But is there anything else that we can add to this board? Help me out. Look these over real quick. So the current issues that Alabama is facing right now with this team. The quarterback fumbles, right? It's like 1st in the nation. He has 5 fumbles, right? Everybody is just, this is like the biggest topic in college football outside of Lane Kiffin is like Ty Simpson's fumbles. So I put it number 1, right? The right side of the offensive line. I still feel this is a gigantic issue. This has been an issue for 2 consecutive years. Is it the players? Is it the coaching? I don't know. Ryan Grubb said that Will Conformi played outstanding. He played guard this past weekend against Oklahoma. The run game. 129th in the nation? Or was it 123rd? Whatever it is. It's what was it? 123? Yeah, 123 in the nation. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And kicking field goals, right? 11 of 17, 64%. So those type of numbers, and you're like, oh, man, these are the numbers. I love to stay positive, but these are frustrating issues. The fumbles, I don't know why. The fumbles, yeah, I think you can fix that. The right side of the offensive line, I think, is just cooked. The run game, I don't know. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. We've been waiting for it to get better. It seems to be going the opposite way, right? Because it was 119th and now it's 123rd. And then the kicking game, I think, is just what it is. I don't think there's going to be these things are going to be fixed just automatically. So that's kind of where we stand with the current issues that maybe they can fix or whatever. Iron Bowl kickoff time is 6:30. We knew that this was going to happen. You have to go through the haunted barn to be able to get to the playoffs. What an opportunity, right? I mean, you got to go through Auburn regardless. This time it just happens to be at the Haunted Barn, 6:30 on ABC. As you know, this video is powered by our friends at Sleeper, right? Get a $100 deposit match up to $100. Use the promo code, which is Tailgate, okay? By just downloading the app, you get $20. The promo code is Tailgate. Make more or less picks, right? Tomorrow, we'll look at some of the top games and play some more or less, or we'll even do it for NFL. I love to do that for NFL. And the promo code, don't forget, is Tailgate. Available in 21 states. Terms and conditions apply. And also, I'm going to play a quick video, which is from TickPick. All right, and then I'm going to play the coach's excerpt. Download the app. Well, I'll just play the commercial so you can learn more about TickPick. Use the promo code, which is HMA. HMA. Be back in 1 minute. Family, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I don't know about you guys, but one of my biggest pet peeves is hidden fees when buying sports tickets. Why can't there just be one particular price that is set, and that's the price that I actually pay? If there was only an app where hidden fees didn't exist, well, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video, TickPick. All right, huge shout out. With over 20 million downloads, TickPick has you covered. NBA, NFL, concerts, festivals, you name it. TickPick gives you the lowest price guaranteed. No fees. What you see is what you actually pay, okay? And, of course, I have a promo code for you. You can use the promo code, which is HMA, for $20 off your first set of tickets at TickPick with the purchase of more than $100. That's $20 off any tickets with the promo code HMA. Make sure you click the link in the description box and you download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, TickPick. All right, fam. I appreciate you supporting the sponsors. Coming up next, we will go to the coach press conferences, and we'll start out with Kane Womack, Alabama's defensive coordinator. I won't play the entirety of these, but I will kind of play some excerpts, and we'll do some start and stops and point out things that might have stood out to us during yesterday's press conference. We start with Kane Womack up at the podium. Believe he's talking about Red Morgan. Red Morgan has been absolutely stellar for Alabama. Started last game in place of Deshaun Jones.
Red Morgan's play of late, obviously he got even more opportunities in that game. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, Red has always been, he's a good football player. He flashes, he's bouncy, he's very athletic, and he's hard to get your hands on in space out there from a standpoint of, he can kind of, all those field RPOs out there. He's kind of slippery, and he's also a really physical kid. He's probably one of the best strikers I've seen from a tackling perspective. There's a timing and understanding to a great tackle, and to get your foot and shoulder in the ground at the right time to where you have enough forward shin angle and enough lean to be able to maximize that power. Red's probably as good as I've seen at being able to strike, and so he's getting more and more comfortable with his consistency and his execution. He's better and better in man coverage. I think I know he got a penalty the other day, but I really thought he was in great position there. I thought he did a really good job, and so he's just becoming a more and more complete player. That's a young man that we asked a whole hell of a lot of a year ago. To come in here and start for us as a true freshman, and it was because we didn't have another answer, and so we put a whole lot on his plate, and some things he handled really well, and some things he had to really push through the adversity, but now he's come out on the other side as a very good football player. So proud of his fight, and excited to see what he'll do on the back end of the season.
Yeah, a lot to say about Red Morgan. I thought he's been wonderful. I mean, this is a guy who has certainly had a big kind of upgrade from year one to year two. And I know he was called for the pass interference. Look, sometimes it's about not allowing them score a touchdown. I mean, he was all over the guy. And but I think besides that, he's been wonderful. And I think that just kind of illustrates Alabama's depth on the defensive side of the ball. Just like I just pointed out, I mean, that secondary is really, really good. And kind of think about the next year's defense, right? Xavier Brown, Dejon Lee, Red Morgan, right? Who else do you have at the safety spots next year for Alabama, right? Think about the other safeties kind of on board. Ivan Taylor, Zay Mincy, right? You bring on Jordan Edmonds as a recruit. You see some, development from Chuck McDonald. The secondary, I think Mo Lindquist probably deserves a lot of credit too. He's done a really good job with Alabama's secondary.
Just how close was Quay to playing in this game, and what sort of impact can he have when he does get back?
Very close. It was really a game time decision. I know sometimes you use that word, but it was something we were trying to decide in pregame, and I think that we're in position, for him to play very soon. Obviously, he needs to have a good week of preparation and feel good. He pushed last week. We pushed last week, and so we'll see kind of how he has handled that. I haven't seen him since from an on the field perspective, because we didn't run full speed or anything on Sunday. So we'll get a chance to see what he looks like on Tuesday and then kind of go from there. But Quay's a very good football player. When he has gone out and he practiced all last week, I was really impressed with how consistent he was in doing his job, his responsibility. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve or knocking the rust off a little bit, and he did a really nice job last week. So excited to feel like when he does get back on the field, we're going to be able to get him out there and get him rolling.
Really big update from Kane Womack in regards to very, very talented defender from Alabama and Quay Rusaw. He went out, I believe, in September, so it's taken him a little bit of time to get back on the field. Not that long, actually. So now you have Yonze Pierre, you have Quay Rusaw, you have Noah Carter, Justin Hill. That entire position is certainly loaded, and that kind of showcases Alabama's depth again. Where not a lot of places in the country could you lose a player like Quay Rusaw. Quay's a starter here. If Quay is the man, all right? For him to go out, you replaced him with Yonze Pierre, and Yonze Pierre Pierre is killing it, right? Leading the team in sacks. You take out Deshaun Jones, right, who was a starter. Boom. Here comes in Red Morgan. So the depth on the defense is way look, we have depth on the offensive side, but the defensive depth is A+, 100%. Now we move over to Ryan Grubb, Alabama's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Coach, just what's your message to Ty Simpson about the fumbles and maybe how to kind of avoid those moving forward?
Yeah, same as normal. A couple of them that came up there is obviously, for Ty, take care of the ball in the back end of the pocket, two-handed monster. And, the message all week that Ty, knows and is frustrated about was got to get the ball out of his hand. And then understanding when your back gets chewed up in protection, what's going on with the route concept and where to put the ball. And Ty knows that. He's beating himself up more than anybody.
Yeah, we already addressed that. I mean, it's been 5 consecutive games that he's had a fumble. There's a stat that doesn't sit well with us. He's beating himself up. They need to fix it. I mean, turnovers will cost you. Turnovers will kill you. That's part of our college football creed, right? That and missed field goals. So he's working on it. Hopefully that's something that improves.
Coach, what can you say about the job that Daniel Hill has done over the last few weeks in his performance in the game on Saturday as he's continued to carve out a larger role for himself?
Yeah, he's growing. Everything you want for young players. I think Daniel's, all the guys are competing for, playing time. That's the most valuable thing to them is getting on the field and show that they can help the team. And, for Daniel, he's certainly done that. He wasn't perfect, just like any player. He's working to try to get better at things. But, I think he's shown the capability of being, the guy that can get those tough yards.
After having
Yeah, with the Alabama running game, before we go to the next question with Daniel Hill, I thought Alabama's run game took a baby step forward, but it wasn't like an overall dominating performance by Alabama's run game. In fact, they even moved back statistically nationally. So the main thing is I do feel that the running backs, and we have to be careful about who we ask to be put in because pass protection is such a critical factor. Look, we all understand that one of the weak spots of Alabama is the right side. Right? We all understand that Ty Simpson is getting hit from his blind side. We can't have a running back in there that struggles in pass protection. Now, Ryan Grubb has said that was uncharacteristic of Jam. Daniel Hill, you saw him get pushed by a corner. This is an issue that is happening. And if you're not going to protect Ty Simpson, he goes from 91% when he was clean to 49% when he is under duress. So those are the issues. And if I know it, like as a YouTuber, imagine what Brett Venables knows, right? They see it. They can take advantage of it. So is there a running back? It might not be who has the best feet. It might not be who can hit the hole the quickest. It might be who is the best protector of Ty Simpson that you have at running back moving forward. Honestly, it is that important. And also, you've been missing Danny Lewis, a tight end who's kind of like that H-back. They've been putting in a freshman there as well. I haven't seen too much issues there, but I think it might come down to who can protect Ty because that's your best player on offense, right? That's who's the point guard. If you can't protect your point guard, you're not going to get points.
chance to watch the film, what is the biggest takeaway and biggest point of emphasis going forward this week for you?
Yeah, it's, I hate saying it or even bringing it up, but it's turnovers. And, for us, the disappointing part was we always think we prep our guys for that. We always think that we practice that. And to this point in the season, it's been certainly a strong point for us. We have had turnovers, but we've never had more than one in a game. And so when you have critical turnovers and points that come off of the turnovers and you put your defense in tough positions like that, those are crushing blows in a tight football game. So certainly that's a point of emphasis is, decision-making with the ball. How do we take care of it when it is in our hands? So that's the whole thing. Because we felt like, you take care of the ball, we win the game. And it was really that simple. They beat us in two categories, points and turnovers. And those are always the most important. So for our guys, they know that. They know the lesson that was learned there. And we'll certainly put even more emphasis moving forward at practice.
Hey, Coach.
He just said it. It's like, and that's why I don't feel that this is going to be an issue kind of going towards this pivotal back end is the turnovers, because I get it. I'm fully aware that Ty Simpson has, the fumbles the last 5 games. Okay. But outside of that, and even with that stat, in your mind, has turnovers been an issue the entire season? No, it hasn't. The kicking game has. The running game has after that Missouri game. The right side of the offensive line, those have been constants. But the turnovers, it's like that interception that he threw, that was worth 5,000 interceptions. Now, I see it on social media. It's like, oh, man, this dude throws so many interceptions. He has less. And it's hard because I'm like, trying to just say facts, not defend somebody. But I was like, Fernando Mendoza has more interceptions than him. So does Julian Sain. So does Gunnar Stockton. Those are facts, right? Julian Sain threw 2 interceptions against Ohio. Ohio, bro. Right? This is against Oklahoma.
Coach, what is your evaluation of the offensive line after watching the tape?
You know what? I thought they played well, honestly. I thought that the last 2 weeks they've been building. It's been a little bit of a slow build. I thought Wilkin played outstanding. We challenged him. Yeah, me personally, I put Wilkin, in a spot playing right guard that has not been something that he's done over his career, and he played really well. I thought, after you watch the film, the interior of the pocket was as good as I've seen all year. Like, countless times you saw Ty climbing the pocket and able to rip a ball over the middle, and I thought Wilk was a big part of that. So, the stability that they've brought, and then really, the run game part has a really good run defense. And honestly, what we did up front and how we executed was as good as we've done. I know it doesn't feel like that with 80 yards, but the reality is we've been, for the last month or better, it's tough to say, but we've averaged, between 7 and 9 negative yards runs per game. And on Saturday night, we had 2, and they were gains of 0, so technically they weren't negative. And both of those runs, I'll just say it, we just missed them. We had big holes that we just didn't friggin' hit, and it sucks, because the O-line worked their tails off, and that's a part that I know they see that. I know that our guys see that on film. So I thought the O-line played well. I know 4 sacks isn't, very sexy, but, that was a good front and a defense that plays well and could have got the ball a little quicker a couple times. But I thought they picked up some really good pressures and gave us a chance. And honestly, during the week of preparation, I think the O-line was the guys that have really brought the energy and the juice at practice. And I'm anticipating those guys continuing to build and honestly keep taking the right steps forward here late in the season.
Coach, you addressed the mechanics of the missed field goal on Saturday, but after the missed field goal, the television cameras caught Connor Talty kind of getting upset with David Byrd and the placement of the snap. Just what's your reaction to that, and really what's your message to the entire unit as they look to improve?
Yeah. Before Coach Kalen DeBoer starts, were you surprised by this answer? Listen to it if you haven't heard it. Obviously, you just heard the question for the reporter kind of asking, about that emotional display by Connor Talty calling out a long snapper. I found this kind of a interesting comment. Were you interested by this? Did it make your ears perk up? It did for me.
We're all competitive, and those guys are competitive, and they want to make that kick and have the execution be at a high level. And every single one of those guys are always taking ownership. But obviously in that moment, Connor's a competitive guy, and he knows how important those points are. And, the response and everything like that. Not exactly what you want, but it's also an understanding of, how important it is to these guys. And they work together relentlessly in practice. I see it. There's a cohesiveness that these guys have. And so, in the locker room, I think they got that resolved very quickly after the fact, and we're ready to go out there and execute more throughout the game.
So it sounded like, I kind of felt maybe like Coach Kalen DeBoer would be like, that's not what we do. But I think what he said was, those guys, he let them hash it out on their own, and they fixed it inside the locker room. And he said they're competitive guys. The special teams want to perform at the highest level, just like everybody else. I just thought, Coach Kalen DeBoer's approach is always so interesting to me, right? Because he's definitely not like old school, but I do like, and I do appreciate some of the philosophy by him. I think like an older school coach might have like scolded them, right? And said that that's not how we do things, but rather he's kind of just, he doesn't often micromanage. He kind of lets guys kind of hash things out themselves. I don't know. I just found that was interesting.
Far back left, we'll go to Matthew. Hey, Coach, early in that game, there was a big punt return from Oklahoma. Just what did you see from your special teams on that play?
I saw Latsier Brooks give unbelievable effort from flying down the field, probably 50-plus yards, to almost getting the guy down and then rolling and getting right back up and chasing probably another 50-plus yards the other direction. I think that guy right there gives so much and has been so productive in the special teams all season. I think there might have been about a split second where one or two guys hesitated, and that allowed for a couple blocks or just some missed tackles, and then we lost a little contain. We knew in the return game, once he got rolling, he had some good speed, and we've done a great job against returners, but it's that one time when you flinch. And I don't know if we flinched, but we hesitated for a second and thought he was going to be down, and the blocks got back on us, and that's what happens, and it was a big momentum shift early in the game for them. That certainly, got them 3 points, and we understand what the difference in the game was. And so there's a few of those one-off plays that were the difference in the game.
And even with that said, two things. Number one, I love how he supports Lazier Brooks. I mean, he's done that since the minute he's got here. Lazier Brooks not only starting, as a wide receiver, but also starting on special teams, and was able to have, 100% effort all the way down the field on the other side when the guy ran back that 42-yard punt. It hasn't been often that Alabama has allowed a big special teams play like that, right? So that was new to us. But what was amazing was the defense, man. I was like, oh, man, these guys – well, I didn't know for sure that they would get a touchdown. I was like, okay, let's see if the defense can hold, but they're in a really bad spot. And the defense only allowed 3 points at that particular spot. So once again, the defense has this mentality. I mean, one of the top, as you saw, defenses in the red zone. It's going to be tough to score 6 on the defense 100%.
On the far left, we'll go to Theo next.
Coach, really big game for Josh Cuevas. We had the big reception by Edwards. Do you think tight ends could play a bigger role in the passing game moving forward?
Yeah, I think both, in particular, Cuevas and Caleb do an amazing job. And that tight end position's always been important to our offense. It's not just the pass game, but it's the run game and the ability and the flexibility these guys have to line up wide, be in the core, move around. It's not just physical, it's mental capacity to do all these things. Josh is a stud. You see him on the one play, make a guy miss in the flat, toe the sideline, and then, lower the shoulder at the end of the run. It's just the competitiveness he has. And Caleb, just continues to get better. You can see him with pad level for a tall guy, continuing to work at it. He's got great hands. He's been, throughout the year, a guy that you can consistently count on to catch the ball in tough places. And so there's more to it with our tight end core, but those two certainly get the brunt of what we do as far as the reps.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Josh Cuevas and even mentioning freshman Caleb Edwards there. One thing, I think Wade said, do we trust Lazier Brooks right now than Ryan Williams? That was a good question, I thought. And I started thinking about Alabama's, kind of the core of their receiving game. I'll put it on the screen right here. It certainly is Jeremy Bernard, Horton, Cuevas, Brooks, Hollywood, right? Those are like the 5 main targets. And I think with each of those guys, you have Jeremy Bernard, who is Mr. Dependable and somebody that they trust enough to run kind of the gadget plays with. Isaiah Horton, I do feel I would like to see them utilize him a little bit more. And they do go to him kind of in spots, but, man, he comes up with some really good contested catches. And I think that's an area where he can be even more dangerous kind of down the stretch. Josh Cuevas, I've said this a bunch of times, following the Oklahoma game, and even before that, he's a weapon. He's a weapon at tight end. And I think we had a comment box. Jeff Tatum says, I wish they would have went to him on that last 4th down. Josh Cuevas was balling. He was hot. And, you have to understand when a player is hot, you feed him. Josh Cuevas is ultra-talented tight end. He's not a serviceable tight end. He's a weapon 100%. Lazier Brooks, this guy comes in, good things happen. You throw the ball to him, good luck tackling him. You can't. He's not the biggest dude, but, you can't. Ryan Williams, after the fumble, This guy's gone through a lot, whether it's the fumble or the drops or whatever. He did catch that 38-yard catch. He hasn't had maybe the season that we anticipated for him to have, but I'll tell you what, they keep going to Ryan Williams, right? And what that tells me is that Ty Simpson, and he knows his receivers. He practices with them every single day, and he sees what they're capable of at practice. And Ty wouldn't risk the team's, opportunities going to somebody that he didn't trust. So while, that last fourth down, maybe I didn't like what I didn't like was the play call. I didn't like going outside. I like crossing routes. I'm still kind of mad about that play, to be honest. I like crossing patterns. A crossing pattern with the tight end would have been perfect, but just my take. All right, I think we got one more from Coach Kalen DeBoer.
All right, last question will be from Emily Grace, front right.
Coach, you mentioned that dialed-in approach that you're seeing. How thin is the margin of teams that use a loss like this to dig in and get better, like we've already seen your team do, and those that let it define them? And why has this team been able to show that they've been on the right side of that?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, and again, I got in the locker room, and it didn't surprise me, and I shared that with you, or you could feel what the hurt was, but also what the response would be. And the week of practice last week was phenomenal. And we can, again, I've shared with you guys many times how we can track that, how we can see it, how we can feel it, how we can, understand what that looks like. And again, the competitiveness, the fight that those guys had, it wouldn't have been there at that level if it wouldn't have been invested in the early part of the week and the process that these guys go through. And that will continue to be the case. We have to use this week to continue to get better. And that is the priority. That's where our head needs to be. And in order for us to continue to have the outcomes we want, we got to make it as simple as possible and focus on what we can control. And that's our mindset, our attitude, and then that leading to the effort and, continually each and every day get better.
Yeah, good comments right there about kind of the mission going forward. It's like we got to move forward. I think the first loss of the season was so deflating because I think we had such high expectations and they got out-coached, they got outplayed, and I think we were left in kind of this world where like, dang, man, this team was completely false expectations, right? But I think as they went on the season, they showcased the ability to respond to that negative. And I feel a lot different following this loss against Oklahoma. I'm like, okay, I accept it. It wasn't good. I don't feel that they were outcoached. I don't feel that they were outplayed. I feel it was self-inflicting wounds that led to that loss against Oklahoma. And I'm confident that if those two teams were to play again, number one, it'd be one hell of a game. But I do feel that Alabama would beat Oklahoma, and I feel confident saying that. You eliminate the turnovers, and you have the defense, which did amazing against Oklahoma's offense. So you move forward, and look, the rest of the world of college football, they have Bama fatigue. They don't want to see Bama there. I know we have some Georgia fans that are inside the comment box that probably feel really confident that if Alabama and Georgia are to catch each other in the SEC title game or in the playoffs or however many times they're going to play, I'll tell you, I will predict this for you because it happens every single year, okay? As of late, it happens almost all the time. And I should have like a soundboard so I don't even have to like think about it. But this is what will happen. Georgia and Alabama will somehow catch each other, all right, over the next, 2 months. Georgia will have all the momentum. They will be the favorite again. Everything will be cited for Georgia. Even the game will be in Georgia, right? These two teams will play, and it will all be Georgia, and Stockton will be balling out of control. And guess what? The same shit that's happened the last 10 out of 11 times will happen again. I'll be here and be like, guess what? Georgia's the favorite, but guess what? Bama's going to beat them. And the king of college football, Josh Pate, will say the same exact thing, right? And he'll pick Alabama, and they'll beat Georgia, right? Sleep on the fact that Kalen DeBoer is done work against Kirby Smart. I know. Right now, Georgia's balling out of control. I love where Gunnar Stockton is. He's killing it. He's absolutely crushing it. But the fact of the matter is, Bama lives in their heads, and Bama has outplayed Georgia the last 10 out of 11 times. That is a stat that just blows my mind. Because when I think of Georgia football, that is kind of the team, right? They're like, that's the team, man, that just beat Texas, right? That's the team that beat Ole Miss. That's the team. They're hot. Well, who'd they lose to? Same team they always lose to, Alabama, right? So that's today's show, fam. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. News as it happens. Stay close to our Facebook channel as I post content there as well. And, of course, live every single day at 10 a.m. right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Tonight, 7:15 for our college football playoff show. We'll go over all the teams' resumes, and then we will showcase you the updated bracket. That's at 7:15 tonight. You'll see a scheduled video. And then tomorrow live with Wake Up Bama, and then live for our 10 a.m. show. And then tomorrow during our show, it'll be a call-in show. So that's kind of the schedule going into this weekend. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for kicking it with me. As always, I have great appreciation for all of you inside the comment box. I hope you guys had a good show. Hope the audio was good. I hope the visuals were good. I feel like one of my things when I step onto the platform, because I don't have like a co-host or anything like that, I just feel like you guys should be able to get a high-level production in terms of the audio, in terms of the graphics that you see, right? I want you to have a really good experience on here. So I put a lot into every single show, and I hope you guys are able to get the most out of it. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you very much. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Tuesday, November 18th. Kyle Henry.